Hello, hello, hello. I have been determined to make this video for you all. Sagoon, I wanted to just say thank you before we get started for the invitation, for inviting me. And I know my audience is students, and I love children and students. And just to give you guys a little bit of background on me, I've been a school bus driver before, picking up children, elementary, middle, and high school. I have picked up, I was a school bus driver for special needs children, and I was in the military and the Army. I started in the Army when I was 19. Right now, I'm in the Air Force, about to retire soon, and altogether with 21 years of service. I am in public health right now. And and I have 3 children. I have a daughter. She's the oldest. She's 36 years old. She has 2 children, so I have 2 grandkids, and they are 10 and 8. I have a son. He's 21 years old. And I have a daughter who just left for the Army, and she's 19 years old. And so I I never thought I would be writing a book. And I wrote this book right here. I wanted to share with you all. And this book is called Stolen Intellect. And the reason that I wrote Stolen Intellect, and it's because my son was born with a severe, at the time when I was pregnant with him, they called it a severe mental retardation. And of course, I was devastated as his mom. And, he struggled. They recommended abortion. I didn't have an abortion. I still have my son. And he had his struggles. He struggled to roll over. He struggled with turning over, with crawling, with lifting his head. He struggled to walk and run when the time came. As a matter of fact, he didn't run until he was 5 years old. And so I was concerned about that, of course, as any mother would be. So I spent a lot of time, 15, 16 years, researching, trying to understand what happened to my son. And he was about maybe in the 11th grade around this time when I heard a doctor say that children with a low IQ have a low iodine and have an iodine deficiency. And that was the breakthrough that I had been looking for, praying for. And so moms need iodine in the womb when they're pregnant with their infants. And then the toddler still needs the iodine when they're like 1 and 2 years old. But here my son was 11 years old. 11th grade. And I'm like, wow, he's nowhere near a toddler. So I didn't know if it was going to work or not. And so all I could do was just see if it worked. What did I have to lose at this point? So I began supplementing my son with iodine. And sure enough, about 2 weeks later, after I supplement my son, and I took the iodine too myself. And I'm going somewhere with this story, y'all. So hang on in there with me. And so all of a sudden, when my son took the iodine, and I'm not knowing if it's going to work or not, okay? So then next thing I know, my son comes home one day in the 11th grade, and he says, "Mom, I have homework." He hadn't initiated homework for a long time, since the 3rd grade, actually. And so next thing I know, I said, "Well, son, what do you have to do?" He said, "I have to identify 20 geometric figures." And I said, "Okay, go on YouTube." And I said, figure that out, learn the 20 geometric figures. And so he did. He didn't need my help to do that. And that was a good sign too. And so he went back to school the next day, and the teacher happened to ask, can anybody name 20 geometric, 4 of the 20 geometric figures? And so my son said that he raised his hand. And I said, you did what? I said, you raised your hand. I said, what did you say? He said, I said pentagon, decagon, octagon, and hexagon. And I said, you said what? And then the next thing that I noticed, at this point, the last drawing, my son in high school, still drawing circles and stick figures, adolescent like drawings. But this time, after he had been on iodine for a couple weeks, my son brought me some artwork. It was art, and it was a picture of a character, Bart Simpson. And I said, where did you get this from? He said, I drew it. And I said, no. I said, you didn't draw this. I said, you mean you traced it? He said, no, I drew it. And I still didn't believe him. I was distracted doing something else, you know. So a few minutes later, he brought me another drawing. This time it was a teddy bear, and it was holding a heart. And I said, oh my goodness, my son is drawing like an artist. And then plane going over here, sorry y'all, helicopter. Then the next thing that I noticed, that, well, his teacher called me one day, and his teacher said, Ms. Ravenel, I just wanted to let you know that your son got the highest grade in his geometry, on his geometry test. And I was like, oh my God, the iodine is working. It is working. It is nourishing his brain, and it is detoxifying his brain at the same time. And so that's what this book is about. This book is about generational intelligence, and it's about generational good health. Because what I figured out is when we nourish the brain, it nourishes the immune system